Today's presenting sponsor of Gambling Mad with Norm and Chad is brought to you by 24K Wellness. Not all nutritional supplements are the same. 24K Wellness makes it their mission to help you feel, perform, and live at your best naturally and sustainably. 24K Wellness delivers nutritional supplements based on more than 5 decades of experience. Premium gold standard natural ingredients with advanced formulations and rigorous quality assurance testing to create products that support energy, recovery, vitality, long-term health, and cognition for focus through stress, late nights, and questionable decisions. No promises on your picks. And right now, special for Gambling Mad listeners only, go to 24kwellness.com and use the code MAD24K for the absolute lowest prices anywhere. Once again, that's 24kwellness.com and use the code MAD24K. 24K Wellness, fuel better, live better. Tell them Norm sent you. I beg of you, Frito-Lay, either you come to me with a solution or I will come to you with a solution. Okay, I don't like to travel, so this means I will send my alter ego, our own Asher Friedberg, also known as the Young Norm, to Frito-Lay headquarters in Plano, Texas to settle matters. And you don't want to deal with this guy. Just take a look at him. It's your move, you snack asses. Norm and Chad. Norm and Chad. Welcome to Gambling Mad with Norm and Chad. I am Norman Chad. Coming up on the program today, Twitter, or X, is turning the screws on me. Frito-Lay is turning the screws on me. Gambling is turning the screws on all of us. Plus, we're going to have a heart-to-heart about tater tots. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by Fritos, picked fresh off of Central California trees each morning, delivered directly to your local retailer each afternoon. And by the refreshing taste of Fresca. Fritos and Fresca. It's a meal. By the way, would it kill Fritos to send me a new bag? I mean, these things expired about 2 years ago. The bag's getting really, I'm not asking for much. Just a new bag that, retails probably for $4.99, $5.99. Can they send me one? They don't send me any sponsorship money. Just one bag of Fritos from Fritos. I got a lot of issues with Fritos lately. Folks, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I speak, of course, of the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X or excrement. I am reaching the 4-week mark of having my account hacked and stolen from me, apparently irretrievable at this point. X support has not responded to my last 4 emails asking for support. Reluctantly, I did what their last reply to me suggested. I started a new account, which is beyond depressing. It's like sending up a flare at high noon in the middle of the desert that goes about 80 feet and then drops back down to the ground. Nobody is going to see it. So after a week or so of accumulating 4 followers, now those 4 people need to be investigated, I got a new message to my account from X telling me that my account had been flagged. They told me that my account might contain spam or might be engaging in what they called inauthentic behaviors. As a result, X says my new account is going to be temporarily restricted and they will limit the reach of my posts before they can make sure that I am actually who I say I am. The irony here is rich. It is so rich, I cannot even afford it. By the way, what's that again? They're going to limit the reach of my posts. Right now, my posts are being seen by 3 to 5 people. They're going to limit that further? You're killing me. Okay, first, I lose my X account because someone hacks it, takes it over, impersonates me, and locks me from any access to it. X tells me, sorry, for security purposes, we cannot return your account to you because we don't have the current email address, password, and phone number associated with the account. All was changed by the hacker. X suggested, as I mentioned a moment ago, that I simply move on and start a new account. Bye-bye 58,000 followers. Let's start anew. So I start a new account, and it is flagged immediately because I'm told I'm impersonating someone or I might be a bot. I am not a bot, but I got a hot bod. I might give you a glimpse a little later on. Granted, they might be doing me a favor. I hated Twitter. I always hated Twitter. I hate X with every ounce of my hot bod. I have stayed with it because it's my primary source of information for the poker industry, which has been my primary source of income for a long time. Anyway, to sum up, @NormanChad is now in the hands of an impersonator who posts under my name. I replaced that account with @RealNormanChad, but X tells me I might not be real. They might be onto something there. In America, we normalize everything. Nothing is extreme anymore. Bad is good. Good is not only taken for granted, it's pretty much disdained. From the White House to Wall Street to Main Street, nothing is considered out of line anymore, which leaves us, not so surprisingly, with a sports world being inundated and overwhelmed by gambling, and nobody blinks an eye. This much sports betting activity will eventually hit epidemic proportions. Gambling addiction, gambling-related violence, gambling-related domestic violence, lost homes, lost jobs, lost lives. And then the obvious ill on the playing field itself, rigged action. We don't seem to mind that the integrity of the game, the very core of why we tune in, is being disturbed time and again. If the games are not on the up and up, can we continue watching them? Incredibly, at this moment, I guess so. Every bit of small or large gambling indiscretion over the past year just gets glossed over, and then we go on to the next tip-off or kickoff. We have seen stuff happening in MLB, in the NBA, in NCAA basketball repeatedly, but we haplessly and happily and mindlessly march towards the madness. There has been insider information, there has been prop bet manipulation, and perhaps worse going on. Game still goes on. In MLB, Cleveland Guardians pitchers Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase were federally indicted for allegedly taking bribes to manipulate specific pitches to help bettors win prop bets. They are pleading not guilty. Play on. In the NBA, a federal gambling probe resulted in 30 individuals being charged, including Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, and former NBA player and assistant coach Damon Jones. Some of it involves using non-public NBA injury and lineup information for illegal bets. Some of it involves rigging illegal poker games potentially linked to organized crime. Everyone has pled not guilty. Play on. In NCAA college basketball, numerous players have been investigated and had their eligibility revoked for various alleged charges, betting on their own games, manipulating outcomes, sharing info with bettors. Plenty of Division I schools are under federal probe, including Arizona State, Eastern Michigan, Mississippi Valley State, New Orleans, North Carolina A&T, and Temple. Play on. Okay, I'm going to pause now for air because we're going down a dark road here. I don't particularly like dark roads. I don't even drive all that well in broad daylight. The thing is, we could start every gambling mad listing new gambling improprieties. I don't even mention most of them, believe it or not, because I'm afraid of, if I'm harping on this scourge of sports betting mischief, I'm going to lose the 15 or 18 viewers I have. It's going to reduce gambling mad viewership to Luca, his homeboy, and his ex-girlfriend. It is hard, though, to sit here every day and see how we have normalized inside trader and sports gambling malfeasance, just as we have normalized the unfathomable acts of inhumanity that emanate these days from the White House. But how much longer can we look the other way and pretend everything is fine? Because one day, we might wake up and see the games are gone and our way of life is gone. Now, to be perfectly frank, I think I could survive an authoritarian dictatorship, but can I really live without a good Nuggets Warriors game on a wintry Tuesday night? I love Jokic. I love Steph. Let me give you all a footnote on the alleged MLB pitching indiscretions, because some of you might think I'm shouting fire, fire, fire when somebody's just striking a match for a candlelit dinner. But I've actually been sugarcoating the outbreak of all this wrongdoing because I hate continually being the number one ranked bearer of bad news. It's like this old thing: don't shoot the messenger. Asher, let's just say you're fired or laid off.
Rock on.
Okay. Do I want to be the one to tell you, hey, I'm sorry, Asher, but you're fired? Aren't you gonna transfer that to me, even if I had nothing to do with it? Always remember that I'm the one who told you you're laid off.
I wouldn't mind hearing it from you.
Okay. I will let management know in the unlikely event that we're letting you go, that I will let you know. I think the rest of the people are tired of hearing me sit here every week and go, look, this is wrong, that is wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong. In fact, we're going to start a new thing starting next week, which is, shout out to every week. Shout out to something we love a lot. There's plenty of stuff out there we love a lot. The bad stuff is tumbling on top of us, but we do love a lot of good stuff. So we'll go shout out starting next week. But anyway, I want to just talk a little bit more about the case of Cleveland Guardians star reliever Emmanuel Clase, just to show you this isn't minor stuff. According to ESPN's David Purdom, prosecutors say Clase and teammate Luis Ortiz accepted thousands of dollars in bribes to help two unnamed gamblers from their native Dominican Republic win at least $460,000 on bets placed on the speed and outcome of their pitches. So sometimes someone might bet that the first pitch of the third inning is going to be a ball. Clase or Ortiz would make sure it's a ball if they did what people said that they did. It wasn't going to be a strike. And if you see some of the videotape of what they're accused on, what pitches they're accused of rigging, they make sure it's going to be a ball. I mean, it's like Major League Bob Uecker. I was a bit outside. Okay. So how often did this happen? Clase is accused of throwing suspicious pitches in 48 games over a 2-year period. Not one, not two, not three, 48 games between 2023 and 2025. If the allegations are true, Clase, who's, by the way, a 3-time All-Star, twice was named American League Reliever of the Year, he would have manipulated his performance in 1/4 of the games he pitched during those seasons. 48 games. I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger cheated on Maria Shriver 48 times. I don't even think Tiger Woods, approached that number when he was married to Ellen Nordegren. How is 48 games not front page news? How is this not the biggest story in MLB this century, other than the Houston Astros just banging their trash cans to cheat their way to the 2017 World Series title? Most people don't even know, or ever even heard of Emmanuel Clase or the 48-game number. What they do here? Play ball. And we are getting close to the start of another exciting Major League Baseball season. Time for this week's sports trivia, and it's a good one in honor of Black History Month. Who was the first black senator in the U.S. Senate voted in by popular vote, and in what year did that occur? Asher, I usually let you guess at these. I don't think you have any chance. This is a different type of thing. This is out of, I might not have gotten this one, even though I've heard of the person. So we're not going to let you embarrass yourself, because I know you're going to guess, Muhammad Ali or something. But let me give you a little background first on this. There were 2 black men who served in the U.S. Senate in the 1870s, But back then, senators were not elected by popular vote. Rather, state legislatures chose those who would serve in the U.S. Senate. So the person I'm looking for is the first black senator elected by popular vote. And we'll have the answer coming up just in a few minutes. Once again, I know some of you out there are saying that how is this sports trivia as advertised? Technically, you are correct. And I don't even know if this individual played sports at any level. However, I have my ear to the ground. I've been listening of late to a lot of my white nationalist and white supremacist fellow Americans, and they would tell you that if a person were black, chances are they were running or jumping or slam dunking or just doing something that has nothing to do with the greater welfare of this great nation. It's time again for Spin the Globe, America's newest learning tool. Each week we will spin the globe. I will stop it from spinning with my index finger. And wherever that index finger lands, we'll tell you all you need to know about that part of the world, whether it is land or sea. It's fun, it's educational, it's a roulette wheel, and an upper level college course all rolled into one. Let's do it. Let's spin the globe. And we got Cocos Island, which apparently is Australian. You know, I'm going to have to rig this game to have my finger land on areas in which I have more knowledge. Cocos Island is in the Indian Ocean. It's near another small island that the Australians have a claim to until we take it. It's named after Coco Chanel. So the island has a perfumey smell. It is surrounded by water, so there's a lot of fishing. And the capital of Cocos Island, of course, is Cocos City. And that's Spin the Globe. We'll do it again next week and double your knowledge on what's happening around the world geographically. Frito-Lay, makers of Fritos and Lay's potato chips, done me wrong on Super Bowl Sunday. I detailed this last week. I have been promoting Fritos free of charge for 18 months here on Gambling Mad. And on Super Bowl Sunday, Frito-Lay stole my picked fresh off of Central California trees every morning and delivered to your local retailer every afternoon concept for their own Lay's commercial. I will not take this sitting down. Well, actually, I seldom stand up. So I will take it sitting down and do whatever I need to do while sitting down. The thing is, I am tired of being everyone's punching bag. Heck, I wear glasses. I don't like being hit in the face. But I have recently been the victim of identity theft on X. That's a federal crime. And now I'm a victim of intellectual theft by Frito-Lay. That's a creative crime. Frito-Lay, hear me now and hear me loud. We are either on the same team or we are not. I'd like to be a teammate since I have a sincere love of Fritos. But your lack of a response, your lack of action, your lack of care and concern for violating me to the core means we are moving one step closer to lawyers versus lawyers. I don't much like lawyers. If we fight, we're just going to make a bunch of them very, very wealthy. I beg of you, Frito-Lay, either you come to me with a solution or I will come to you with a solution. Okay, I don't like to travel, so this means I will send my alter ego, our own Asher Friedberg, also known as the Young Norm, to Frito-Lay headquarters in Plano, Texas to settle matters. And you don't want to deal with this guy. Just take a look at him. It's your move, you snack asses. For the record, here are 10 prominent people in media, whether it be podcasts, websites, sports cable, late night TV, that I would prefer not to hear from for a good while. 10. I'm not ranking them. I'm not alphabetizing them. I'm not even condemning them. I simply am listing them randomly right now and hoping I do not have to mention their names for the remainder of this calendar year. Here we go. Stephen A. Smith, Dave Portnoy, Jimmy Kimmel, Joe Rogan, Jason Whitlock, Bill Simmons, Barstool fill in the blank, Pat McAfee, Bill Maher, and Clay Travis. Off with their heads! We move on. We gave you the Mount Rushmore of TV sitcoms last week. I Love Lucy, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, All in the Family, and The Larry Sanders Show. And I felt very guilty listing only about 10 runners-up because there's a couple of dozen other sitcoms that would be considered in just about anyone's top 10 of all time. But in particular, with news of Catherine O'Hara's passing, I realized I failed to mention two other shows of note. One of them, the Canadian sitcom Schitt's Creek, which starred the wonderful Catherine O'Hara and the equally wonderful Eugene Levy, which then made me think of my unthinkable omission of Ted Lasso, right in front of us. A brilliant, uplifting addition to our TV culture the past several years. My apologies to all parties involved. All right, time to answer this week's sports trivia question. Who was the first black senator in the U.S. elected by popular vote, and in what year did that occur? The answer, Edward Brooke, 1966, in the state of Massachusetts. He was reelected in 1972 and then defeated in his bid for a third term in 1978. This week's trivia question in honor of Black History Month. Just a reminder, under my proposal, my long-standing proposal now to change the calendar to 8 days a week, 32 days a month, and 11 months a year, February gets eliminated, and Black History Month would be shifted to March, which gives us 4 more days of Black history than we get now. You know, honestly, we might be outsizing Black history at that point. I mean, what are they? Maybe 14, 15% of the U.S. population? And most of them were slaves the first 80 or 90 years we were a nation. So how much Black achievement can we be talking about here? We've got, I don't know, George Washington Carver with the peanut, Rosa Parks in the bus, Michael Jackson with that moonwalk thing. Actually, I stand corrected. There is a bunch of stuff, I guess. I am wearing World Series of Poker. World Series of Poker garb this week, today, to celebrate the 2026 WSOP schedule being released for this summer. 100 bracelet events because 99 weren't enough. And the good news is that the WSOP will live stream final tables every day of the festival leading up to the main event. But there should be even better news on the horizon. The WSOP announced that the main event will play down to a final table, then take a break, a pause for an unspecified period of time before they play out the final table over a 3-day period. I like this. Hopefully, this means the WSOP is figuring out a way to return its marquee property to a larger viewing audience. You know, when you mention the World Series of Poker, they actually are just thinking of the main event itself. $10,000 to enter, 10,000 players, at least $10 million for first prize. It is a spectacle, America's best reality show. But the WSOP and the main event have been in sort of witness protection the past 5 years. The WSOP disappeared from the mainstream faster than Mickey Rourke, and a lot of casual poker fans just forgot all about it. Here's hoping that the main event can find its way back to the big stage. That would be terrific. And if I am somehow still involved, broadcast-wise, it would help put more bacon on the table for me and Blue. Blue loves bacon. Blue, by the way, is off this week. She is on assignment. Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. When you cheat on your girlfriend, don't announce it to the world. Seven-time world champion Sturla Holm Legrid of Norway won a bronze medal in the 20-kilometer individual biathlon race at the Winter Olympics, then confessed his infidelity in a live interview afterward on Norwegian TV. It's been the worst week of my life, he admitted to everyone and their brother. There's someone I wanted to share it with who might not be watching. 6 months ago, I met the love of my life, the most beautiful and kindest person in the world. 3 months ago, I made my biggest mistake and cheated on her. How many mistakes can this chump and a half make in one fell swoop? Sturla. 1, this woman was out of your league. 2, don't cheat on your partner. 3, handle these indiscretions privately. 4, if you are gonna apologize publicly, maybe find a smaller platform than the Olympic Games. And 5, and this is perhaps your worst mistake of all, biathlon? Biathlon? That combines cross-country skiing with rifle shooting. It's not even a sport. It's something you do to bond with your father-in-law. And buddy, you're at least 5 mistakes away from ever having a father-in-law. That'll do it for another edition of Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. Hope to see you again next time. And remember, if you're gonna roll the dice, make sure they're loaded. Today's presenting sponsor of Gambling Mad with Norman Chad is brought to you by 24K Wellness. Not all nutritional supplements are the same. 24K Wellness makes it their mission to help you feel, perform, and live at your best naturally and sustainably. 24K Wellness delivers nutritional supplements based on more than 5 decades of experience. Premium gold standard natural ingredients with advanced formulations and rigorous quality assurance testing to create products that support energy, recovery, vitality, long-term health, and cognition for focus through stress, late nights, and questionable decisions. No promises on your picks. And right now, special for Gambling Mad listeners only, go to 24kwellness.com and use the code MAD24K for the absolute lowest prices anywhere. Once again, that's 24kwellness.com and use the code MAD24K. 24K Wellness, fuel better, live better. Tell them Norm sent you.
I'm a French fry guy. If they're good, I like all varieties. Curly fries, boardwalk fries, steak fries, shoestring fries, crinkle cut fries, waffle fries, Belgian fries, cottage fries. Potato wedges and tater tots technically might not be French fries, but they are kissing cousins. French fries are a comfort food, and tater tots are forever comforting. Which brings us to Dear John's, a renowned restaurant in Los Angeles, famous because it was a rat pack haunt in the 1960s. Apparently because you might piss in the same urinal Frank Sinatra once pissed in, Dear John's can charge a lot of money for whatever food they bring you. I just read a glowing Dear John's review on the Eater LA website that said, don't hem and haw about the $49 bougie tots, just order them. A pile of crisp tots speckled with bubbly Ikura, caviar, and egg yolk shavings. No. I've had them, they are tasty. They're not $49 tasty. And by the way, in LA with our 9.75% sales tax and standard 20% tip, those are $65 tater tots. Oh, let me clarify. We're talking that they are bougie tots. So they take a kid-friendly food and convert it into a hip, chic, faux gourmet food. It's sort of what we did to Halloween. Not on my watch. I'm sticking with Five Guys French fries because it is simply un-American and unacceptable to turn those little crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, pure as the driven snow, bite-sized golden nuggets into some upscale, upper crust, fancy-ass, fashionable, richy, lavish, trend-setting, posh, styling potato spectacle. It just drives me gambling mad.
Gambling Mad with Norman Chad is written by Norman Chad and ghost-written by Norman Chad. Executive producers are John Scheinberg and Rick Barrio-Dill. Produced by Norman Chad and Rick Barrio-Dill. Our associate producers are Bree Khoury and Asher Friedberg, and edited by Asher Friedberg with studio facilities at 360 Pod Studios, Beverly Hills.